The transport ship Horizon N drifted through the amber clouds of the Terran belt as its engines whispered against the dark. Inside, deep in the lower bunk room, a maintenance worker named Leo rested after a long shift. He was not a soldier or an explorer. He was simply a worker who repaired air filters, calibrated circuit lines, and carried out tasks others ignored. Yet on that fateful cycle, he forgot one thing that every traveler in the belt was taught from their first day. Never sleep without armor. Leo shifted in his bunk as the dim lights blinked across the narrow corridor outside. He had removed his protective vest and set it on the small locker at the foot of the bed. He had slept before without it during calm passages, but never out here. Still, exhaustion won over caution. He closed his eyes and let the quiet hum of the ship become a lullaby. The belt storms raged outside like silent giants. He did not know that within those clouds a patrol fleet was drawing near. The patrol belonged to a species known as the Terran Dominion. To the wider galaxy, the Dominion was known for two absolute traits. They kept their promises, and they never understood the concept of fear. Their warlords were legendary. Their strength was spoken of in every port, often whispered with awe. And among them was one known simply as Ralak, a commander who had never lost a claim, duel, or campaign. Ralak did not seek conquest for glory, but for order. He believed the galaxy needed a steady hand, and he intended to become that hand. Ralak stood on the bridge of his flagship observing the drifting vessel that had appeared on his scanners. The ship seemed like a simple transport, yet something stirred within its energy signature. A faint resonance pulsed through the void. His sensor officer glanced back with uncertainty. Ralak turned his gaze forward and ordered an inspection. The officer obeyed without question. The Dominion understood hierarchy well. Within moments, beams of pale light leapt from the Terran ship and wrapped around the horizon end. The transport jerked as forced docking began. Sirens wailed. Leo jolted awake and stumbled from his bunk, gripping the wall as the floor trembled under his bare feet. He darted toward the corridor and nearly collided with a fellow worker named Tom, who clutched a toolkit with shaking hands. The ship was being boarded. No one knew why. The airlock sealed shut behind the Dominion soldiers as they stepped inside. Their armor glowed faintly, as if carved from living stone. Their helmets carried no visors, but instead long horizontal slits that shimmered with shifting colors. The humans backed away as the soldiers marched in formation. Leo stood frozen against the wall. One of the soldiers raised a scanner, swept the room, and stopped at Leo. A burst of sound filled the chamber. The soldier gestured for him to come forward. Leo felt his legs grow numb, yet somehow moved. The soldier pressed the scanner to his arm, and a soft pulse of energy shot through him. The moment it did, Leo collapsed to one knee, breath caught in his chest. The resonance the Dominion had detected now resonated with him. The scanner glowed with a deep silver hue. The soldiers paused, startled by what they saw. The Terran Dominion did not often show surprise, but this reaction was unmistakable. Ralak soon entered the corridor. His presence was unmistakable. He stood taller than any soldier beside him. His armor carried markings that resembled flowing rivers of light. When he walked, the air seemed to hum with controlled power. He looked at the terrified workers, and then at Leo still on one knee. The scanner was lifted to Ralak. He studied it carefully. Such resonance was rare and almost impossible to find in an untrained human. The workers held their breath as Ralak approached. Leo, the warlord, examined him with a steady calm. He saw no armor on him, and that fact confirmed what the scanner had detected. A dormant bond mark had awakened on the human. The Terran Dominion believed strongly in the concept of bond marks. They were ancient pacts created when two lives shared a fate beyond understanding. Such bonds could appear between warriors, rulers, or even between a leader and a stranger chosen by fate. To the Dominion, this bond was sacred. Raylock spoke to his second-in-command. The translation unit echoed the meaning for the humans. According to Dominion law, the one who awakened a bond mark with a warlord must be protected and acknowledged. Leo did not understand what any of this meant. He tried to speak, but his throat felt tight. Raylock extended a hand. Leo hesitated, but then accepted the grasp. The energy between them pulsed again, like a living spark. The corridor fell silent as soldier and civilian alike watched. Raylock declared that the human was now under his protection. He also announced that by the ancient laws, the bond meant the warlord and the human were linked in purpose and fate. The workers stared in confusion. Leo blinked in shock. Raylock ordered that Leo accompany him back to the flagship dot. Before Leo could protest, he was escorted down the corridor. The Dominion soldiers moved with flawless formation. They guided him through the airlock and onto the Terran vessel. The interior resembled polished obsidian, lined with glowing pathways. Every surface hummed with energy. Leo felt small and out of place, yet strangely steady. The resonance seemed to soothe him. Raylock led him to a chamber lined with smooth panels. A circular table dominated the center. Raylock told Leo that the bond was not random. The belt storms amplified dormant patterns in living beings. The fact that Leo slept unarmored left him open to this resonance. Now the bond could not be undone. Leo stared at the warlord in disbelief. He had come from a simple world and worked a simple job. How could he be linked to a figure known across the stars? Raylock studied him with calm interest. The warlord explained that he sensed something hidden in Leo, a resilience and clarity rare among those who wandered the galaxy. The Dominion respected strength in all forms. Raylock believed Leo could guide him in understanding humanity. He also believed the bond might reveal a threat lurking in the belt that neither human nor Dominion had recognized. Leo tried to refuse, but the bond pulsed again. He felt a strange ache in his chest. Not painful, but heavy with meaning. He realized he could not run from this. He asked Raylock what would happen next. The warlord replied that Leo would accompany him on the next campaign, not as a soldier, but as a guide and witness. He would learn the customs of the Dominion and offer insight when needed. The bond would grow stronger the more time they spent together. Days passed aboard the Terran flagship. Leo learned the routines of the Dominion. He learned how they trained, how they settled disputes with calm precision, and how they valued unity above ambition. Raylock visited him often. Their conversations grew longer. The warlord asked about human cities, art, and old myths. Leo listened as Raylock described Terran history, their battles for stability, and their belief that leadership was a duty, not a reward. Over time, Leo realized that the warlord was not the cold conqueror he had expected. Raylock was disciplined but thoughtful, stern but fair. He sought order to prevent chaos. And Leo began to understand why the Dominion followed him with such devotion. Yet Leo also saw the weight the warlord carried. Raylock burdened himself with every decision. Leo offered simple suggestions in moments of uncertainty, and Raylock accepted them with surprising respect. One cycle the ship detected strange energy, pulses deep within the belt. Raylock prepared his forces to investigate. He invited Leo to join him on the command bridge. The crew watched the sensors carefully. Storms surged around them. Suddenly, the radar flashed with shifting signals. Unknown drones scattered across their path. Raylock issued commands. The Dominion ships moved with flawless precision. When the first drone approached it, unleashed a beam of crackling light. The Dominion shields held firm. Raylock ordered a countermeasure. The flagship released a wave of harmonic energy that destabilized the drones. They shattered like glass touched by flame. Yet more drones appeared. Leo noticed a pattern in their movement. They pulsed in rhythm, as if responding to the same resonance he had felt when the bond awakened. He told Ralak this, and the warlord listened intently. Ralak ordered the crew to match Leo's observed rhythm. The ship generated a counter-frequency. The remaining drones slowed, paused, and fell apart, as if their cores dissolved. The crew turned to Ralak, who nodded toward Leo. Leo had guided them through a danger they had not understood. The warlord stated that the bond was guiding them both. After the threat passed, Ralak invited Leo to observe a council discussion. The commanders debated the nature of the drones. Some argued they were remnants of an old empire. Others believed they were scouts for a hidden faction. Leo listened carefully. He suggested that the drones were acting like probes seeking resonance energy. Ralak considered his words. The council eventually concluded that Leo's insight was correct. As the cycles turned into weeks, Leo grew more comfortable among the Dominion. He joined Ralak on inspection tours. He stood beside him during briefings. The crew began to show him gestures of respect. The bond between human and warlord grew deeper, not through force, but through shared understanding. Ralak learned from Leo's sense of fairness and humility. Leo learned from Ralak's discipline and clarity. One day, Ralak summoned Leo to the observation deck. The belt glowed like molten gold around them. Ralak spoke of an upcoming summit with human envoys. He asked Leo to stand beside him as a bridge between their peoples. Leo hesitated. He felt unworthy. But Ralak explained that the bond had given them a chance to unite their strengths.